This is a comprehensive video and tutorial on commercial cleaning marketing, and this is for commercial carpet cleaning and tile cleaning services, and also office cleaning janitorial services. And this is going to be a comprehensive video, so we are going to show you how to just get to the places that you want. A lot of people come into the cleaning industry in all types of situations, and some are in their first year, some are in their 20th or 30th year. So everybody is looking for different types of information, and this is a comprehensive video. So what we're going to do is show you how to get to the place. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, that is going to be very long, then you can just skip to the parts that you really want to get to, or save them for later, of course. And this is our website, methodcleanbiz.com, and in the description in YouTube, I will leave the link to this page. So if you prefer text, you can come and click on the link of the text and watch the video. That'll be an option, or you can just watch the video on YouTube. And what we are going to go over is all the different options for commercial cleaning marketing. And we first start off with business planning, the marketing plan, building a sales plan. This is the quickest way to get to where you want to go is the sales plan, target marketing worksheet, and then we have a very detailed view where we go over all the different platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn, and we also go over construction cleanups, how to get referrals, LinkedIn I mentioned, how to create a flyer or brochure. So everybody is not going to be interested in every little one of these details, but if you visit our website, you can click on the resource that you are looking for, or on YouTube, you can click on the little description box, and it'll show you the description of the video. This is where we'll share the link to the website for if you're interested in text, and for the video, it's going to be very long. We will put the exact time of the different subjects. That way, if you're just interested in a specific topic, you can just go right to that description and it'll show you the exact time. So then you could just hop through to which one that you want to watch. My name is Shane Dubell, and our company is methodcleanbiz.com. This is a quick video on putting together a marketing plan structure, and that's always the first step, is to put together an outline or a structure to follow. Now I know that marketing can be frustrating to a lot of contractors, but I think it'll be a lot easier if you follow a sequence and you follow a structure from step to step to step, and this will make a lot of sense. Often when I speak with commercial cleaners, what they ask is, well, what platform should I use? Is LinkedIn a good return on investment? Is Facebook worth it? And that's over here on the right. But what we want to do is we want to start over here on the left and first talk about our company and lay out what is our vision. What kind of company do you want? Do you want to be specialty cleaning? Do you want to be janitorial? Do you want to have a mix of both? And if so, how do you want to weight it? Do you want your revenue to be 50% say commercial carpet cleaning and 50% janitorial? That's all something that you can decide, and it will completely change these questions over here. And that's why we want to start here with our vision. What's our long-term goal? Do we want a large company? Do we want a small niche one? Do we want to be in the middle? And then from there, our values. What is important to us? What do we want to share with people, to share with our customers and prospects? and then customer profiles, and SWOT, which is strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And this is important to figure this out because each of us live in different markets. We have different goals. So we really want to come up with a custom plan for our specific situation. And then after that, then we can get into the strategies, which is the next step, is deciding who do I want to target. And I just came up with a couple. You have to come up with your own, but one might be commercial property managers, another might be medical buildings, and down here, territory or fencing. And what this means is geography. Maybe you'll say 5 miles within your office, and you want to hit pretty much everybody, and you don't care if they're big, small restaurants, you just want everybody in that territory, 5 miles, 10 miles, whatever, and you don't really care. So that, and you can run all three of these strategies. You don't have to choose which one is best. And then from there, then we decide all of this stuff because based on these answers over here, this might change with commercial property managers, and we go to platforms. Well, LinkedIn might be a great platform for that specific strategy, but it might not be for a territory. Territory, you'd probably want to do a lot more door-to-door type type of um, type of marketing and sales versus if you're reaching out to property managers, they're pretty active on LinkedIn, so that'd be a good choice. Same with content. When you're thinking about content, well, that's going to come from over here. You know, do you want to be big? Do you want to be small? What kind of values do you want to share with people? Is employee training? Are you family friendly? Stuff like that you want to share with people. And that is where your content comes from. And it also is going to come from here. Who are you targeting? The images, the words you use, um, how big of words you use might change completely, and the grammar that you use also, compared from, say, commercial property managers to, say, restaurants. That would be two completely different demographics, so your content would be completely different in what images you would use. So this is why we want to follow a sequence from writing out everything about us, then thinking about what strategies we want to follow. Then we get into all the details of what tools we should use, what platforms are best, uh, door to door versus the phone, what content. All this stuff is going to change based on your answers to these questions. So I hope this makes sense, and good luck. This is a quick video on putting together a commercial cleaning sales plan, and this can apply to commercial cleaning, commercial carpet cleaning, specialty work, and janitorial services. And what we're going to do is follow a simple 6-step process to put together a dedicated sales plan that we can follow day after day, month after month, year over year. Now, with a sales plan, it's kind of like a business plan that it's a living object. So over time, we might make changes, and that's okay. It's not meant to be in concrete, but to give us an outline that we can follow so we can stay on track and keep track of what's working and what's not working. So the first step is, what's our objective? And it's a financial objective. That is a big part of this, and it's important for us to start in the beginning. You know, what's my goal? Is it 50 grand a year? Is it 100 grand a year? Is it $1 million a year? It's important to come up with some kind of a number of what we're trying to accomplish, because it can completely change some of the other questions we have below. So the next step is step 2, and that's resources. You know, what kind of resources are available to me, and do I need marketing material, and what's that going to cost? business leads, how many businesses do I want to call on? How much money can I spend on advertising or marketing every month? How many hours? This is something that people don't always take into account, but if you're personally doing the work or you hire somebody, a marketer or salesperson, how many hours are you going to spend? If it's 5 hours a week, that's fine, but that's how we piece this all together, is just to be honest with yourself and upfront that I have $1,000 a month to spend and 5 hours a week. So then we can kind of piece this all together. What tasks are you willing to do? Do you like to make phone calls, door to door? Are you good with blogs or videos? Do you like going to networking events? Because if you establish what you're going to do and what you like to do, it's just a lot more likely that you'll follow through. And you can transition to some of the other stuff over time as you build momentum. But the important stuff is to not fool yourself that you're going to do something that you'll probably never do. So just start with the things that you like to do. Targeting, what types of businesses do you want to focus on? Is it hotels, restaurants, medical, professional offices, apartment buildings? You can also decide to do fencing, which is a geographic area. So if you had a town of 50,000 people and you said, I'm going to hit every single business in this town over and over again every quarter, that would be fine. There's nothing wrong with doing a radius or a geographic area. And a lot of times it can be a lot simpler long term, but that's something that you'll have to decide. So that's step 3. Step 4 is services. And the services, this kind of works together. You want to work together with your targeting, your services, because if, for instance, you decide you want carpet cleaning and you want to end cap 100% of that, that can completely change who you're targeting. Because there's certain businesses that if I was focused on encapsulation cleaning, I probably wouldn't do restaurants. I'd focus more on the professional office market, churches. There's maybe hotels to an extent. So that's why this is the targeting of who and the services. This kind of works back and forth like a teeter-totter, so we can decide. Because some things like offices, they have VCT in the restrooms and cafeterias usually, so it's not a huge amount of VCT. And but other businesses like restaurants and hotels, they have a lot of hard tile. So that's why this kind of goes back and forth with the services, because that can completely change things. So then step 5 is the activity log. This is where we list, okay, what physical activities are we going to do and what's going to be the frequency of that. So if we decided above of I'm willing to put 5 hours a week into this, 10 hours a week into this, etc., then we can start to piece this together that I'm going to make 20 phone calls a week. I'm going to go door to door for 20 businesses a week, and then list exactly what day and time you're going to do it. Let's say you want to go in social media. I'm going to do 20 connections a week, 5 connections a day. The key for me is I would do at least something every day, even if it's 10 minutes. Just 10 connections on LinkedIn, or 5 cold emails, or posting something on social media. It just adds up. We want to keep the momentum going, so I'm going to highly encourage people to do something, even if it's a 15 or 20 minute activity, but keep the momentum going, keep the ball rolling, because it's unpredictable when somebody is looking to buy on any given day. So if we just put anything out there, our odds we're putting the odds in our favor. So the last part is the training. So we've decided these are all the things that we want to do, but some of these things we might not be prepared for. So if you're using sales software like our sales software, you might need some training on how to use it. If you've never done phone sales or door-to-door sales before, you might need some training for that. If you don't have experience with presentations, you might need to put together some emails, uh, Facebook, LinkedIn, any of these social media. Maybe you've never done any networking before, but you want to. And then you can decide on what training you need, short term, immediately, and then long term. Because when it comes to training and learning in general, you can't learn everything all at once. Some of these things you may decide that, for instance, YouTube, I want to do it long term. So you'd put that in the long term category, but you're not going to do it tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow you just need to do phone sales or door to door so you can get moving. So that's why we want to map out, what is the training? What do I need to do? How many hours am I going to put into this? So this is a brief sales plan you can put together for your commercial carpet and tile cleaning business or your janitorial business. And it's important just to start up at top with your objectives and then just keep processing through these 6 steps. And it's 100% guaranteed that it will work long term then. This is a quick video on how to target commercial cleaning and janitorial accounts, how to get contracts, and what we're going to do is use a target marketing worksheet. In each market, there is tens of thousands, and some of you that live in larger markets, hundreds of thousands of businesses. So somehow we need to narrow that down into more of a manageable number, depending how big your company is and what your goals are, anywhere from 500 to 1,000, maybe a couple thousand for the larger companies, up to 5,000. But we want to keep it within a manageable number, 500 to 1,000 for most businesses, for most cleaning services, 500 to 1,000 targets, and then we can keep on them 4, 6, 8 times a year. So that's the goal. That's why we're doing a target market worksheet. So we can keep on the same group of prospects month after month, year after year. So I came up with 3 different main categories. There's actually dozens of filters that you can use. I tried to keep it simple and just came up with 3 main categories. And the first one is geography. And all of this is specific. There is no one rule that will apply to every market. Obviously, dense markets like San Francisco are going to be completely different than Toledo or rural area. So that's why this is something that you have to decide for yourself based on your market. And a simple way to think of it is small, medium, and large. Within a mile, within 5 miles, maybe 20 or 30 miles, in that range. And then you can start to narrow it down. How many businesses are within that range? 50, 400, 1,300. Then we can go to the next filter. And the next filter is employee size. And in employee size, again, there can be more filters than this, but small, medium, large range, under 10 employees, that's generally for commercial cleaning. That's going to be a pretty small building. 10 to 20, you're starting to get into middle. Definitely 20 to 50. This is going to be the medium category. Depending on the industry, this should be your middle. And then 50 plus, that's going to be larger companies. These buildings are probably going to be 20, 30, 50,000 square feet once you start getting into hundreds of employees. So that's why we want to filter it, because each of us has different objectives of who we're going after. So that's why we're filtering it this way. If you don't want these really large ones, that's fine. You would stay away from that filter then, that 50 plus, and you would keep more in here. Generally, the sweet spot is somewhere in here. It's in the middle, medium, but that depends what your goals are. If it's hard to get there, it's hard to get to 10 or 20 million in sales. You need some big ones. But, most contractors don't want to get that big anyways. So then the final filter is square feet. And this is kind of related to employee size. This is how people usually figure out the size of the building is by the number of employees. But it depends on the industry. So that's why we're using these different filters, because it can completely change. And if you think about this practically for a second, an apartment complex, for instance, they could be a huge apartment complex and still only have 10 employees, but it could be a big account. Same with churches. Churches use a lot of volunteers, so generally speaking, this employee size, and that's why we want to use both filters, and that's why I'm using both of these filters, so we can find this out, so we can figure this out. Because churches use a lot of volunteers, and they just physically don't need a huge number of employees, even though their square footage could be really high. And other ones are like distribution, because someone can have a 3,000 square foot office and then a humongous warehouse. They could have a 100,000 square foot warehouse, but only a tiny office. So that's why we want to use these different filters. And the three categories are geography, employee size, square foot estimate of the building. And you're going to ask, well, why do we care? Because the size of the building can completely change the production rate, can change the number of services. Maybe some of you might not even want to target some of these larger accounts, and vice versa. Some of you might not be interested in anything under 10,000 square feet. So we don't want to waste our time going after them. And that's the whole purpose of account-based marketing, is we're trying to focus on our meat. We're trying to focus on our level one, our key accounts. That's the whole purpose of doing this, because we want to focus on right here. We want to put all of our time and money into our key accounts. And large and medium is relative, so remember that. Large to one company might not mean the same as to someone else. But this is a short little video on target marketing and some of the different filters that you can use. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, leave me a comment in the video or go to our website at methodcleanbiz.com. This is a quick video on 10 sources to get carpet cleaning, tile, and floor care accounts with government agencies. And the first thing I want to point out is this is specifically for project work, or what I would call project work: carpet, tile, floor care. This also can apply to windows, pressure washing, that kind of stuff. But I'm not really talking about janitorial. That would be a completely different category. And the reason is that the jobs are just bigger. And later on in this presentation, I'm going to show you why it matters. Because the jobs are so much larger on an annual basis with janitorial, that it's going to completely change how you market this type of service to government agencies. And what you're going to find is that this is a guerrilla marketing approach, and we're going to go website to website to fill out their vendor forms. There is no super secret one place where we can just go and sign up and be signed up for every single government agency, because what you're going to realize once you go through this process is we have a lot of government in this country, and it comes in all these little forms that you don't always really realize. So I'm going to start with there's federal, and federal is kind of a category in itself, because you have to go and apply for a SAMS number and work with DUNS to get your SAMS number. So I'm going to kind of separate that also and focus more on state, county, more local types. Federal, also a big thing with federal is not all of our areas even have a lot of federal buildings. I mean, we have a couple, but we don't have an excessive amount, so it might not even be worth it for you. That's something that you want to look for yourself. So some of the different categories we can look at are state, county, city, and then these are the tricky ones. These are authorities, which um, one thing you're going to learn about the government is it's different in every part of the country. And here in New York, we have a lot of these. We have thousands of these that they're actually state agencies, but they call them authorities, and they kind of operate. They still have to follow the state rules, but they have control over who they want to hire, and they can come in the form of airports, buses, housing. So when you're looking this stuff up, you would want to look up authorities. Some other examples are libraries, uh, individual school districts. When you start adding these all up, it's going to be quite a few people, all the different cities, all the different towns in your area, all the different school districts, museums, and another one you might not really think about is utilities. uh, Utilities can be power, water, gas. They often have public-private partnerships, so they have to follow the state rules. So the first thing I'm going to show you is we have all these different opportunities. So how do we find them? The first place I would start is with the state. Now in New York State, you would just look up, you would just go to Google and look up state procurement, New York bidding, bidding on New York State contracts, stuff like that. And every state is going to have some kind of a free registration for you. Here's the important part that I want to point out, especially for carpet, tile, and floor care, is right here. They only have to publicize this service for $50,000 or more. Well, when you think about this for like these miscellaneous services like carpet, a lot of times the jobs are nowhere near $50,000. So they don't have to advertise on the site. And this is the whole purpose of this presentation, is to show you how you have to go to these individual websites because they don't have to advertise it. So if you sign up for one of these services, there's some paid services out there. You may not see 90% of the opportunities out there because they don't have to. They don't have to publicize it. Also, I want to point out this part here where the states only have to publicize state agencies, but then here they say many museums, cities, schools. So that means they don't have to put this in for the state bid. So if you live in a big metro area, if you live in a big metro area, um, it can be a good idea to sign up for your state program. It's free. It's going to take you probably 5 or 10 minutes to do, and then you're set for life. And they'll email you the opportunities. So especially in the winter, this is a good thing to do. So this is one way to do it. Another way to do it is the yellow pages. And I know you're probably going to laugh at first. You're going to say, why would I want to use the yellow pages? Well, I did a search for government offices in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And here's the benefit to using the yellow pages is they put the website right there. So you can process through this really fast and start clicking on these websites. So you can probably go through 10, 15 of these in an hour pretty easily and just click on the website. So I'm going to jump over to the city of Philadelphia because I want to show you how do I find this stuff, because it's so confusing. I find a government website, and the best place to look is first up here. You're going to look through this top navigation bar, and it's going to be this business self-employment section. Another section, if you don't see it up there, is you want to look through the footers, because that's where they'll keep the links for bidding opportunities, procurement. They might just list it as business. They don't always make this stuff easy. So that's kind of why I'm showing you this. So I'm going to go through business and employment, and you can see there's a whole section for you to sign up to be a vendor. Now with this kind of marketing strategy, it's not going to get you work tomorrow. This is something where you want to sign up for 10, 20, 50, hundreds of these things over time. Maybe you do 5 of them a week, maybe do 10 of them a month, an hour a month, something like that. Just keep signing up for these things and forget about it. And, one day out of nowhere, you'll get a bid opportunity. So the next thing I want to show you is why this can be so confusing with all these different government agencies. Uh, we have authorities, libraries, school districts. That's why there's not one source. And I want to show you why this can be so confusing. That I looked up Charlotte, North Carolina airport, and for the Charlotte area airport, if you wanted to get on the uh, on a bidding list, it actually goes to the city system. So that's going to put you in for anything related to the city. That's all connected with the Charlotte airport. Now I'm going to skip over to Miami, and in Miami, it's not the city. The Miami airport is Miami-Dade, so it's the county government. And that's why people can have a hard time figuring this stuff out, is because it's so confusing. There's so many different layers of government, and they don't all follow, one process. And that's the reason why showing this video is so you can do some guerrilla marketing and literally hunt this stuff down. The Yellow Pages is a good place to start. I would just go through these categories and just go right on to Google, state, county, city, look up authorities, look up all your libraries, go through the school districts, any military bases, the museums, any utility, power, water company, gas company, electrical company, sewer, highway department. It can go on and on and on. Some of them may lead you to the same place, and that's fine. It'll save you a lot of time. I would just keep an Excel sheet and keep track of the ones that you filled out, and then forget about it and move on to your next your next marketing opportunities. This is a quick video on how a cleaning service can put together a value proposition. And there's 2 ways that we can use a value proposition. It is explicit and implied. And explicit is something that most of us think about, that we're going to say our value is going to be we're the biggest, we've been around the longest, we're the most experienced, we're the greenest. That would be something that you come out and just outright say. But another way to think of value propositions is it can be something you can imply. So in this quick example, what I'm going to show is how you can also imply a value proposition. Now for a cleaning service, one of the things that we often want, the message we want to get out is like a corporate image. We're organized and we want to fit in with our clients. So in this example, what we want to do is create a main value proposition. So it's going to be corporate image. This is the main message, feeling, theme that we want to get out there. And then we want to come up with these little small value propositions that support this big one. So our big message is corporate image. That's what we want to get out there. So we're going to use all these little things in order to support or provide evidence to this main message. And we could do that through proposals. Instead of just giving an estimate, we put together 5, 10, 12-page proposals that are very detailed. That would that would imply a corporate image. Wearing a shirt and tie whenever you meet with clients. When you share information, you can do it instead of on cleaning, but on business functions like training or how you hire people, how your safety procedures. Those are all business functions that you could share information about. Your marketing material, the words that you use when you communicate with them, how you greet them, good morning, good afternoon, hello, and then just the words that you use when you speak with people. Sometimes, especially if you want a corporate image, you got to be very careful, not to use slang and, not to swear. There's all these things that we would want to avoid, and words that we wouldn't want to use with email or when we meet with people, speak with them on the phone. Another way might be through uniforms, having strict safety procedures like wet floor signs, stuff like that. That could be another way that you could imply that. So this was just a quick video. I wanted to keep this as quick as possible about putting together a value proposition. And what we want to do is put together a main one and then come up with a bunch of smaller ones that support this main message. This is a quick video on 11 specific marketing tactics to promote a commercial cleaning or janitorial service. And when we use the word commercial cleaning, that's because there is a lot of specialty services where people just focus on VCT floor waxing or commercial carpet cleaning, commercial tile and grout cleaning. There's a lot of specialty services out there that people focus on just a handful of those services, and there's also janitorial. But people are always asking us, well, what are some specific tactics we can use to promote our service locally? So here is some tactics that I've used. And I first want to start off with, there's 11 of them. And the best way to approach this is we have a marketing budget template, and to start off with a budget template, say, okay, this is how much money I have to spend every month. This is how many hours I have of my personal time to put in this, or of your staff if you have marketers and salespeople that work for you, and then create a budget. So everything doesn't have to be done 100%, and that's what we're going to go over. And the way I view it is, throughout the year, it'll be like a volume dial on a radio, where some of them I'll turn up and some of them I'll turn down. I'll still stick to the tactics, but as you'll see as we go through these different tactics, that I may some of them may produce better than others, so I'll do more of it, and then others, maybe they don't produce as well as I thought, so I'll knock them down to maybe just a couple times a year. It's still good to do some niche-y things, especially if it's something that only takes 20 minutes or 10 minutes of your time. It's well worth it to put together a comprehensive marketing plan. So here are some of the marketing tactics specifically. The first one right off the bat is a super fast updated website. When people are finding us, whether you email a link to somebody or they find you in Google search, social media, if when they click on that link to visit your website, if it doesn't load fast, they're going someplace else. People are so impatient nowadays, they will move on in less than a second. So that's why nowadays a super fast updated website is number one. SEO is a big deal, but I think what you'll find is a lot of these tactics actually drive to SEO. So you may not even have to pay specifically for an SEO service. That's up to you. But a lot of these tactics actually drive SEO. But SEO is very important. One thing I'd point out about SEO is you can just focus on one service and not necessarily your whole company. You could just focus, maybe you just want to focus on VCT, and you could just drive SEO just for that service. So that's a big part of putting together a specific tactics. So the third one is YouTube videos. A lot of these YouTube videos, like the ones that I do, are like how-to videos, explainer videos, and they don't take all that much time. A lot of these you can do in 10 and 15 minutes. And if you just do one a week, going over different topics, different questions that building managers and clients ask you, you can get in front of people. That's where marketing and sales kind of plays off of each other. That a lot of the questions that you'll answer in marketing come up when you're out there giving estimates to people. You can also, which is the most common way if you have the ability to do it and are good at it, is for you yourself to get in front of those videos or do action shots. Those are the ones that go viral, and not this kind of stuff that I do. But that's up to you. 50 YouTube videos. That's one a week. LinkedIn. People get confused with LinkedIn. There's different business plans and strategies around this. You can be a big time networker and go and create 5,000 connections. In this case, I'm just going to focus on 500 decision makers, specific managers, like a facility manager, an office manager, so somebody that's specific, and not just trying to grow out 5,000 people, but just 200, 500, 1,000, depending how big your market is, and then stay in front of them. That is well worth it. And again, it's something that maybe you can do in 2 or 3 hours a month. That can have a big payday because these are decision makers and not just random people. Facebook is something I recommend a lot. A lot of commercial cleaning and janitorial companies kind of blow me off about it, but I think Facebook, even just $100 a month, that's like $3 a day, $5 a day, Monday through Friday, just for PR purposes. Because a lot of these people are on Facebook, that these managers, but also it's the receptionist, the secretary, the assistants. If we can get in front of them, $100 is well worth it. If you want to go bigger into it, that's up to you. But I think even a small campaign, it can be a big payday. You only need one a month to pay for it, or even one a year at $100 a month. So it's well worth it. Cold calling, this is sales calls, and sales calls is the biggest way for commercial jobs. And that's true for any service in any industry. IBM has armies of salespeople. Oracle, any of these big business-to-business industries, they have whole armies of salespeople, and that's what they do all day, is they make sales calls. So this is always going to be the biggest one. How many you do, that's up to you, or if you're going to hire somebody to do it. Door to door. A simple thing with door to door is to try to keep it dense, or to if you're going to drive around a lot, to make sure the payoff is there. But a simple thing I think almost anybody can do is, when you go and give an estimate, just go and hit everybody in that area. If there's 5, then fine, go and hit those 5. If there is 20 businesses in a business park, then go and hand out your business card to all 20 of them. That's a simple thing, like an add-on, I guess you can think about. Email, something we all can do is just email our database 4 to 6 times a year. Even just rotating different services and making people aware of the different services we do. A lot of times in commercial cleaning, we can do a lot of miscellaneous services, like maybe we scrub warehouse floors or steam clean restroom floors, all kinds of air duct cleaning, vent cleaning. There's all kinds of little stuff, and people don't even know that we do it. So even if we just email our database 4 to 6 times a year, that's a big payday because it doesn't cost anything, and it's probably going to take you 10 minutes, and it's well worth it. Direct mail, this is one of these questions people always ask, and direct mail, the big thing is they have to be qualified. We have to know who they are. Otherwise, it's going right in the garbage. So whether you do 50 or 100 or 1,000, that'll depend how big your database is. But the big thing with direct mail is if I can't reach somebody, then in the digital world, like email, then I'm going to kick them into the direct mail pile, and maybe I'll direct mail them 2 or 4 times a year just to stay in front of them because I can't reach them in these digital world. I know it's weird, it sounds bizarre, but there's still a lot of people in the world, especially decision makers over 40, who are not active in the digital world, and this is the only way you will get in front of them. So that's why we're trying to create a diverse campaign. Display ads. Display ads is something that's not too popular, but it is one of the best things that we can do. And basically, this is more of a broader campaign, an always on campaign, where we're going to say, well, how many businesses are in my market? And I'm going to show display ads to all of them. So if there's 50,000 in your market, or 10,000, or 30, just keep in front of them 10 times a month. That would be well worth it just to stay in front of people. It acts as a reminder to current clients, it brings in future ones, it drives a lot of traffic to your website. There's all kinds of benefits so people know who you are. AdWords is a humongous topic, and if you're in Dallas for janitorial service, it's probably a huge amount of money. I can't even imagine. It's probably $50 a click or something. But AdWords is a huge topic, and you can just target a business district. You could just target one specific service, like, say, carpet cleaning or tile and grout, commercial tile cleaning. It's really an endless thing. So you don't necessarily have to go and spend 2 grand a month on it. If you want to, you can just spend 200 a month and just do a cherry picking of something, either an area you really like, or maybe a niche service that you really want to grow, and we have to start someplace. So that is another tactic. There's all kinds of miscellaneous things like submitting press releases to local, business newspapers, like your community newspapers. All this stuff is online nowadays, and it's pretty easy to submit a press release. They often will have getting to know type of sections where you can introduce your company, introduce a service. This is a quick video on how to create messages for our commercial cleaning digital advertising campaigns. And this can actually apply to any form of advertising. It could be over the phone, door to door, print mailing. I just focused on digital advertising for this specific blog. And what we're going to cover is how to create messages and value propositions for our advertising campaigns. And the reason I want to go through this and explain this is it's going to make your advertising campaigns a whole lot easier if you understand this process, because it can become very confusing. So what I want to do is first show you. So usually whenever I talk to contractors, commercial cleaning, janitorial, carpet cleaning, doesn't really matter. They want to focus on the ads themselves, the creatives. So like, here's a creative, and I'm just going to process through some of these creatives. And what ends up happening is people end up making a decision real quick that I like this, I don't like this, and it's really visual, that they they like this or don't like this, and without understanding the thought process behind it. So that's what we're going to do in a follow-up blog, is go through those actual ads. But first, before going through the ads, I want to explain why we're doing it and how to format it, how to organize your commercial cleaning advertising. And a simple way to think of this, a simple way to think of this is we have two different message types. One is our main value. This is what they would call a value proposition, our main value proposition, right here. And in this case, we're going to say it's communication. Now, it can be green cleaning. It could be you're the fastest, you're the friendliest. There's a million different things that you can make. But the important part is this is your main company value proposition that you repeat over and over and over again. And it applies to every single customer. So that's a simple way to think of it, that this is something that applies to everybody. And it doesn't matter who you are. So it's more of a vague, broad type of message because it's going to apply to everybody. Then, after we have this main value that we repeat all the time, we then have these specific values that are only going to appeal to specific people because there is no one message that is going to appeal to 100% of your clients, leads, and prospects. And that's something that people are always on the hunt for. It's the pot of gold that contractors are always looking, what's that ad that is going to kill it for me? But that's not really the right way to think about it. A better way to think about it is that I'm going to create 5 or 10 of them and appeal to all these different subjects and cover all these different topics. So that way I suck in everybody. This way I get the absolute most people because I am appealing to all of these different personas and all of these different businesses. They all like different things, just like us. When we buy equipment, when we hire people, we are all looking for different things. The clients that we market to are doing the same thing. So that's why we then break it down. And some of them will not be big movers. When you're talking about commercial cleaning, regardless if it's like a carpet or daily janitorial, down here, equipment technical, it's usually not a big mover. You're talking 5 or 10%, depending on the target. Facility managers can sometimes be more appealing because they're generally males. They're generally men. So a lot of the equipment, the technical stuff, is going to be a small mover. Now another one, like over here on the left, associations, certifications. Those are also usually not huge movers to the general population. Now, they are to people who belong to a specific association, but to tell the general public that you belong to the Chamber of Commerce or dental institution or whatever, they 95% of them won't care, but there's still that 5% that do care. And that's why we're rotating because everybody will not there's no ad that will appeal to everybody. So that's why we rotate them and do a different one a day, different done a week, different one every month. So that way we bring in all of these people. And it could be service mix, employee training. And a lot of this is going to depend on the type of service you're selling. Because I can tell you, in like janitorial, daily commercial cleaning, employee related topics are a very important topic. That is a big topic that I would be talking about because that's what people care about is who's coming in my building, who are they, did you train them, where did you find them, all that kind of stuff. And then they can get into smaller topics about background checks and drug testing type stuff. But these are huge topics. Now, in specialty fields like carpet cleaning, tile cleaning, that kind of stuff, generally speaking, it's more about the problem, and you can go a little more technical and equipment in those topics, and employees are not as big of a topic as commercial cleaning. But so it was a quick blog, and I hope that you understand it. What our point is to have your main value, your main message for your company, a broad, vague one, and then when you're advertising, to rotate and come up with 5, 10, 15 different ads So then you can bring in the most people. And over time, you're obviously going to find some work better than others, and you're going to double down on them, that's fine. Today, we're going to cover how a commercial cleaning service can create a hot leads list. And what the context of this blog is about guerrilla marketing and prospecting, especially in a time where the economy is hit and miss for a lot of businesses. There's a lot of businesses out there that are hurting, and this can apply to commercial cleaning, janitorial service, office cleaning, commercial carpet, any of the specialty services. This would all apply. And what the purpose is we're trying to figure out, okay, there's 40,000 businesses in my market or a million or whatever. Which ones actually have money right now and are spending it? Because in a time of financial distress, not everybody does. So this is one of the ways to do this is we're going to create a hot leads list, and the category today is going to be help wanted. Now this is just one way, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to look at help wanted ads with the theory that, well, if this company can spend 50, $100,000 plus to hire an employee, well, they have money, then they're open, they have money. And if you have a commercial cleaning, janitorial type of service, they are going to want to keep those employees comfortable. And in order to convince them to come back to work, this is a big thing that companies are doing. And to convince people to work for them is that this is a safe, clean environment. So to to do this, I just chose an area, Phoenix, Arizona, and I looked up Phoenix newspapers, and I ran across AZ Central newspaper. Apparently, there's a big newspaper in Phoenix area, and these are the options. Now, this is going to depend on the type of services that you want to provide and who you want to target. You know, the part-time customer service. So I'm going to click on customer service, and you can start to. Customer service is great for offices because that's where the call centers are. That's the type of jobs that a call center would have, a professional office. So I would start to go through and look at these businesses who are hiring, especially if they're hiring multiple people. And I would start to write them down and try to find out their phone. You could just Google these company names. Just first, you just want to start off with who. So we're just going to kind of scroll through this, and this Adecco, Front Door, Nexco, Manpower Group. You know, if you keep scrolling through these, you're going to find some really good companies here. I'd be writing all this down. A software company, VMware, that's kind of technology related. And these people are all hiring. So I'm going to write their name down, find out their phone number, and I'm going to reach out to them and find out who the contact person is. Now, I'm going to scroll back. Let's say you don't want offices, you want hospitality. Well, there's a lot of restaurants and hotels that are in a lot of trouble right now. But if they're hiring, then chances are they're open and they have some money coming in. So they need to clean. There's a pop-up from the website. Um, so that's why I would go through and okay, valet living, uh, spa associate, they would have to clean and just kind of go through. You know, this looks like some kind of residential property manager, and I'd be writing these companies down. So this is just one example of a guerrilla marketing technique that you can do is you're going to search, and it's called a hot leads list, and it's guerrilla marketing, prospecting by going through help wanted ads in like your newspaper. That was today's example. There's other places locally, and see what companies are hiring right now today because they have money. Today, I wanted to share with you the number one sales and marketing tool for commercial cleaning, services. And this can apply to janitorial services, office cleaning, commercial carpet and tile, disinfecting nowadays. If you have a cleaning anything service and you want to sell more businesses, I can tell you this is as slam dunk as you're ever going to run into in the world. This is 100% guaranteed to help you close more jobs and to get more out of your leads, your estimates, and your contacts with people. And what the concept is instead of telling people you're the best, you hire the best people, you have the best worker, equipment, whatever. We're going to take them through a process and show them why. And we're going to give them details. And that's why this is so effective. Now, some people, I just call this a PDF, and some people might call it an ebook, a digital brochure. You can call it whatever you want. To me, I just keep it simple. It's a PDF, and it's something that I can share with people. Over the last 5, 7, 10 years, I can tell you that 95% of the people who buy anything from me have received and read some kind of a PDF from me. And it doesn't matter if it's a local company that I'm trying to sell a commercial carpet cleaning to, or if it's for our sales software. Either way, the results are the same. That if somebody buys anything from me over this time period, they have read one of these PDFs, and that's why they are so effective. So I just want to take you through one and show you an example. Now, we start off with looking to take your cleaning standards even higher. Well, in today's world of viruses, this is a good message. People do want to improve their cleaning standards, so this would be a good starting point of a theme, is taking your cleaning standards higher. And then from here, we're just going to process through this. And we're going to say, well, why do you think this is in a customer's mind is, or a lead's mind is, well, why are you better? There's 8 million cleaning companies, and we're going to show them. And well, we have, you can, put a little mission statement over here on the left, and then you can start to list and take them through the process of a well-running company. Our equipment, the technical stuff, safety is important. How we recruit people, how we communicate. If you're in janitorial, how you communicate with people, that's going to be huge, because that is what everybody always complains about from janitorial services. They can't get a hold of people. They don't respond to their messages. So communication's a big one. Anything employee related is going to be big for commercial cleaning. Uh, Training people, these are questions people always ask when it comes to cleaning related. Where are you getting your people? How are you training them? How are you supervising them? So that's why we are showing them these types of topics. And then from here, we can process through. I've always used safety as a big value proposition. It's not been hugely popular in the office cleaning market. It's bigger in the industrial market. But nowadays, it's actually kind of come around, and safety now is a big deal. So you can talk about, your safety checklist. And then from here, you know, references and testimonials. So some might call it a case study. You want to create some case study and show different topics of the services that you provide, and let them know the companies. If you have reviews, of course, you could copy and paste those reviews. If you have any business reviews, that would be super effective, especially if you can include a picture, or if it's a well-known company. Those are super effective. And then from here, we're going to continue to process through, because this is a big topic. How is your staff trained? How do I know I'm going to get the services that you tell me I'm going to? And you're going to show them that, well, here's our training process. And I don't want to get too much into weeds about the details, but you're just showing them your thought process, and you're trying to explain to them, to the client, or at this stage, a lead that you're trying to sell a contract to, you're trying to show them how you get from point A to point B. That's why you're doing this. And so from there, what about our services? Well, here are the services we specialize in. Yes, you can list 10, 20, 30 of them if you wanted to. Personally, I would just focus on the big ones, and then maybe you can list some of those smaller ones that are related underneath here so they can scroll through and see if sometimes that's how you hook somebody in is they just pull out one of these words and say, "Oh yeah, I was researching that." So that's the purpose of explaining your services. Communication. This is going to be a huge topic in the cleaning business because this is what businesses complain about. Whenever I talk to a local business manager or an owner, communication is one of the big things that they complain about. They can't get a hold of people. They have a problem with something and they want to know why. And that's why we want to talk about communication often when you're selling commercial services. From here, you could do a page about a specific service. Maybe you want to do two or three of them. That's fine also. I just chose hard surfaces. I had the information, so this is a topic that this is a way that I've hooked into people over the years is talking about their restrooms in their cafeterias, which nowadays in July 2020 these high touch services are a big hook. It's a great way to get your foot in the door with the company. So but this could be anything. This could be any number of specialty services, and then from here about your people. This is how we recruit our people. This is how we hire them. This is how we train them. All our staff has uniforms and ID badges. Um, you also can even take it a step further and have like a meet our team page. That would be a great idea. I should have did that actually. Had a meet our team page and show pictures, maybe with some background info of some of your employees, especially like the office manager, the supervisor, people that they're going to be talking to on a regular basis. It's good to put the name with the face. And then from here, we're going to go to equipment and technical information. And I know these are huge issues for most office managers and small business owners we sell to, but there is a percentage of people, 10%, 15, they do want to know what kind of equipment do you have? And that's why we're talking about our equipment, our certifications maybe, that kind of stuff. Any kind of how we technically train people, maybe some of the safety equipment we use. This is where we would put that type of information in. And it and the last one is how are we going to supervise? How are we going to inspect our service after we provide it? Because this is another huge topic, especially in office cleaning, is they love the idea of checklists and cleaners having checklists, regardless if they work or not. That's another question, but they like the concept. So we want to share with them how we do that. How do we guarantee that they're going to receive this detailed service? And because we give them a checklist that they got to fill out and submit to the office, and then the supervisor is going to go through it. Now, obviously, for a specialty service, you're going to have to change some of these details, but that's I just wanted to show an example, a sample, kind of get the wheels turning. Um, so I hope that you enjoyed this presentation, and I hope you look into doing this because this is a slam dunk. This is as good as it gets. Providing a PDF, an ebook, a digital brochure about your company to leads and prospects. This is a quick video on putting together a monthly marketing budget for a commercial cleaning company. And this can apply to commercial cleaning, specialties, commercial carpet cleaning, janitorial services. And what we're focused on today with our marketing budget template is keeping track of our hours. This is something that we don't always think about. Over here, on the title is our monthly cost, and that's how much money are we physically spending every month, and then the revenue, return on investment. But what we're focused on today is the actual hours. And on our website, methodcleanbiz.com, under sales training, one of our exercises is managing our time effectively. And this is the starting point of us asking these questions. Do we have goals set every month? Do we plan this out every month of where we're going to allot our time? And that's great to ask all of these questions. This is the starting point in sales and marketing, is asking questions. But the next part is to measure it and then optimize and then make changes. That's the whole point of this, is we want to keep track of this, because then we can see what's effective, what's not effective, and either fix it or move it out and find something better. And you could see with our template is over here on the left, we have the campaigns. Over here on the right, we have it broken down to cost, and that's a financial cost, revenue, and hours, and then ultimately what the long-term return on investment is. And one of the reasons that I like to do this is that some activities don't cost a lot money-wise, but they take a lot of time. And networking is one of these, where the cost is maybe $400 a year, maybe $700 for a chamber of commerce, depending on your area, which isn't a lot of money when you break it down monthly. But the real question is, how many hours are you spending? Is it something you're spending 5 hours a month, 8, 10, 20 hours a month? Because we want to keep track of that to get an accurate view of what the return on investment is. Just saying, well, it only costs $400, that wouldn't really give you an accurate view of return on investment, because you're completely ignoring that you're spending 80 or 100 hours of your time every year on this activity. So that's why we want to do it. And if you really want to get into it, you could use a value of what your time is, $50 an hour, $100 an hour, whatever it is, and then times that by the hours. And that's if you really wanted to get into it. Generally speaking, I just like to get a general idea of, I'm spending this many hours and I'm getting this kind of revenue. Another example is with some of these platforms. A lot of times, when I talk to people, they'll say, well, I don't have time for this and I don't have time for that. But some of these social media platforms, you don't necessarily need to be spending hours and hours of time. I mean, some of these, like YouTube, I might only spend a couple hours all month on it. So it can be well worth your return on investment. If you're a janitorial company, commercial carpet cleaning company, and you do 2 or 3 videos a month on YouTube, even if you don't spend any advertising money, even you just spend an hour or 2 hours a month, it can be a nice return on investment, because you really only need to get a couple leads every month for it to be worth it. And if you're only spending an hour or 2 a month, it's going to be a nice payoff. Not everything we do is going to be this big home run. We also want to invest in some of these smaller investments. It could be Facebook. It could be LinkedIn. I push LinkedIn a lot. And a lot of times people think that they have to spend all this time on it. But I think if you just spend an hour a week, an hour every other week, it could be a nice payoff, especially with LinkedIn, because there's a lot of mid-size and large companies there. So even if you spent 4 hours a month on LinkedIn, it could be well worth it, because even if you get a couple jobs a month, they could be big jobs. So it could be a real big return on investment. So this is just a quick video on when you're putting together your monthly marketing budget, not only taking into account the cost, but also taking into account your hours to figure out your return on investment. This is a quick video on targeting office managers at medical buildings for commercial cleaning, commercial carpet cleaning, tile cleaning, any miscellaneous specialty cleaning services. And today we are focused on the office manager in medical type of buildings. And medical can kind of be a broad subject that can include hospitals, clinics, doctor offices, dentists, and the primary title that we're going to run into is the office manager, or sometimes the title is practice manager. This is the person that runs the show on a day-to-day basis. So this is going to be our main point of contact for cleaning services. And in the next section, once I started to process through this, and I asked, okay, well, what is the best way for me to reach this prospect? And I started to go through direct mail, maybe LinkedIn. I don't think they're too active in LinkedIn, but it was one of the ideas. AdWords. The one that really stuck out to me was Facebook, because this demographic right here of office manager in these clinics and practices is primarily, you're talking over 30 in women. Women are definitely a large demographic when you're talking about this title. So that's why once I started to process through this, that Facebook really jumped out to me, because that is exactly what Facebook's big posters are women over 30, over 40. So that's why this really stuck out to me. It really jumped at me that this is something that, we should talk about. And right here, what I am in is the ads manager in Facebook, if you're unfamiliar with it. And what I did is I chose a geographic area. It's the Atlanta area. I know it's a really large metropolitan area, so the numbers are probably going to be a lot bigger there. And then I started to look at the ages I would be thinking about. And this is something that you can test. You can go down to 25 and up to 60. Gender, definitely women. That would be the main gender. Now, how about the detailed targeting? This is something we have to decide for ourselves is, do you want to go super detailed or do you want to go broad? And Facebook gives you this kind of measurement tool so you can get an idea of how broad you are. I personally like broad, but I'm not against specific either. So this is something you'll have to decide, and it'll change the different categories that you change. So some of the categories that come up are, we can go by the actual jobs. So for instance, administrative jobs are secretaries, receptionists, administrative admins, office managers, practice managers. That's like the job description. And then on the other hand, we can also think about bringing in the people who are in the industry in general, healthcare, medical, and this is kind of how I look at it, is I want to bring in the most people possible, because people often hang around with people who are like themselves and have careers like themselves. So that's where, shares and likes and referrals can come from, is because people often hang around with other people like them. So then some of the other categories to think about is to get more detailed on the administrative services. Make sure we're covering all the common jobs, manager, receptionist, secretary, because how people fill out their profiles and talk in Facebook, they might use any number of these different broad categories. One thing that you'll have to decide is a big category to bring in as many people as possible, like healthcare. See, healthcare is a broad category, so it's going to bring in a lot of people. This is something that I would more do, because you can see once you take out healthcare, the number of people really goes down. I mean, that was in the mid 400,000 range, and now you're going down to 75,000 people. So I would test both. Some of this is a strategy. It's the concept of how you operate, and I think both work fine. I would test both angles, but you can just see the difference of once you take that big broad category of healthcare, that takes out a whole bunch of people. So this is just a quick little video on going through one of the tactics you can use to target office managers is with Facebook ads. And I'm not saying it's the only one to use. Ultimately, we should choose 3 or 4 of these, but this is the one that really, stuck out to me. This is a quick little video on how to promote a commercial cleaning service through the Chamber of Commerce or local business associations. Now, this isn't trade associations, in the cleaning industry, but this is more focused on local business associations and the Chamber of Commerce. So the first question is, well, why would we want to join one of these associations? What's the benefit? They can cost anywhere from $200 or $300 a year up to thousands in major metro areas. And there's all kinds of benefits with health insurance and different paper products and office supplies. So you can always make your money back from that point. But what our goal here is to generate sales and to promote our commercial cleaning business, or commercial carpet cleaning, tile cleaning. It would all be the same. So a good sales plan always has multiple layers. So I'm not saying this is the only way. This is one tactic, and it's a really great tactic because there's multiple things you can do depending on what your budget is. The big thing is that we have a dedicated audience. So let's say, for argument's sake, there's 30,000 businesses in your market. Well, in one of these associations or Chamber of Commerce, there might only be 1,000 businesses or 5,000 businesses. So we can really narrow down the group of people who we are targeting. And that is a big deal for us because we're not these huge companies like IBM. So one of the challenges is we want to narrow that group down to a dedicated audience that we can hit over and over and over again for years and years. So the big thing I would say with associations and Chamber of Commerce is the difference between a cold campaign and a warm one. And I just made these numbers up, so don't go down the rabbit hole about the exact numbers. The point is, you are going to get whatever you do on a cold campaign. When you make a warm campaign, you're going to get a 20% better return. It might be 50% better or 100% better. It's all going to come down to the details of how good you're at it, how long that you stick with it, and all those details. But that's the point. So you pay the $300 or $500 a year to join this association with a benefit where you're not just going to sit there. You're going to run the same campaigns you normally would to cold prospects, but now you're going to get this big boost. So that's the big thing, is you're going to get a big boost. That's the payoff. So what are the types of campaigns you can run? Well, this is the great thing about Chamber of Commerce and associations. We have this dedicated audience, so we can run any tactic. We can run any campaign. And I would encourage multiple ones. So telemarketing, email, direct mail. You get a membership list, so this is really easy to do. You can even do door-to-door. Go stop by and introduce yourself to 5 or 10 members, especially if you live in a suburban market and there's a small one. Usually all the businesses in the main street will be members, and you could probably go and visit 10 of them all at once and introduce yourself. So the big thing is some credibility with all the branding and logos you can put on your website and all your marketing material. So that helps out a lot. That's kind of like a little small thing. The networking events, most of them have, or all of them have, some kind of a networking event every week or month. Some of them even have tip clubs, so you can get together with other salespeople or other small business owners. That'll all depend how big. You can also sponsor events. They generally have some kind of events, dinners, all kinds of programs they run. Or their email newsletter. Nowadays, they probably have an email newsletter. So they have sponsorship opportunities there and on their website. Just depends how far you want to get into this. I just wouldn't do the sponsorship type stuff unless you're going to do everything else. The sponsorship stuff is just going to make these other campaigns better. But you can't just sponsor an event and sit there. That's not going to be a good payoff. And the networking clubs. So the starting point is always how many hours a month do I want to put in this, and what is my budget? Then we can start to go through these tactics and decide which is the best one. Obviously, email is cheap, so that's always a good one to do a couple times a year. But then you'll have to decide for yourself. Direct mail, though, to other members is going to get you way better returns than a cold prospect list. First of all, you know for fact who the person is and who the decision maker is, because that's something you get as part of membership. So that's a big reason why direct mail is a really good one through a chamber of commerce. And just to ask yourself basic SWOT questions. What am I good at? If you're not good at networking and small talk, then maybe you won't do that one. Same with events. Are you good at that kind of stuff? If not, then maybe you'll try another tactic. So that's the whole point of doing SWOT, is to discover, it's not which one is best. All the tactics work to some degree. It's finding the best one for you, the one you can afford and also have the time for. So what kind, for the business associations, there's 40,000 of them throughout the country, and there is all kinds of different types from your regional or local city, town, chamber of commerce. And there's also, for almost every profession, manufacturing, restaurants, hotels, apartments, all of these associations, these business associations exist through all these different categories. For commercial cleaning, like janitorial, BOMA is a real big one. And also it can be manufacturers. For carpet cleaning, it might be like property investors. That might be a better one. And if you look it up, there's thousands of them out there in your area that you probably never even knew that existed. And some of them might be free even. So which is the best one? This is going to depend on what service you provide, how big your market is. If you want to start off, let's say you live in a suburban town and it's 50,000 people. I mean, that would be a great place to start because you're local, you drive around all the time. So that to me would be a good, but this is going to depend what kind of clients you want to go after. BOMA's good for the bigger ones. A lot of large companies and property managers. If you're in carpet or specialty work, apartment associations would be a good one, or maybe even a restaurant. It depends. That's something you'll have to decide. Where can I find them? The internet, of course. There's a directory of associations. This is like a master list. A simple way is to, actually it's probably funny, but like yellowpage.com. or any of the yellow page online directories, that's the best place to start. They're all listed. If you just look up associations in your area, there'll be lists of hundreds and even thousands of them. So that's probably the quickest way, is the yellow pages online locally. Specific campaigns, this is what I was trying to speak about earlier, that you have a dedicated list now. So then we can go about and go through some of these tactics: telemarketing, cold calling, door-to-door, direct mail, email. The big thing with email, be careful, is because these are people that you want to build long-term relationships, you don't want to spam them. You want to be very careful about email, because if you spam them, they're going to hate you. Social media like LinkedIn, that would be a perfect place to look people up and make a connection, letting them know that you're a member. Or just in LinkedIn in general, and social media, letting people know you're a member. That can, especially for a local one, branding, networking, these are all the different opportunities that you have, the sponsorships that I went over initially. So this was a quick little video about joining a chamber of commerce and how to promote your cleaning business through them, and where to find them, and what are the different tactics that you can use. The best part about it is you have this dedicated list of prospects, and you can use like 10 or 15 different tactics. So you can kind of mix it up. There's not just one thing. You can decide for yourself how far you want to get into this. My name's Shane Dubell, and our company is methodcleanbiz.com. Visit our website for more resources. This is a quick video on how to get commercial cleaning accounts through construction companies, and this can apply to janitorial services, commercial carpet and tile cleaning, any kind of specialty work. Because what we're going to try to do is we're going to reach out to the construction company and specialize in commercial tile and floor. Now, construction cleanups, that would be the whole building. Now, not everybody wants to get involved in cleaning up the whole building. So what you can also do is just create a niche that, well, that's all we do is focus on commercial tile and floor cleaning jobs, or occasionally a carpet cleaning job. Generally, if it's carpet, it's because maybe the contractors tracked up mud, or there was an excessive amount of dust and they just need a quick flushing. Most of work through a construction company, though, is going to be focused on the tile floors. And the great part about this strategy is, even if you are a company that wants to focus more on carpet, once you get your foot in the door and create a relationship with that client that is moving in, then you can reach out to them for a long-term routine maintenance that can be carpet cleaning, tile cleaning, maybe even chairs. So this doesn't necessarily have to do anything with janitorial. It can also work for project work. And the big thing is we get 2 jobs for the price of 1. And of course, we love that. That's what we want, is to try to get the best return on investment possible. So a good way to start is to just map out our strategy, to start off with our description. This is our goal. This is our objective. We're creating a marketing campaign to reach out to construction companies to sell floor cleaning services. And really the end goal is to get referrals to the client moving in. So the objective is, and this is the best part about this strategy, is there's not a whole lot of selling going on. Really, our objective, we're going to reach out to the construction company and we want to get on their bid list. And so our priorities are to get on the company bid list. Collect information about the types of projects that they do. Just like cleaning companies specialize in different areas of the market, well, construction companies are the same way. Some only do retail, some only do warehouses, they all focus on different parts of the industry. So we want to find that out to see if we're going to be a fit for them for what we're trying to provide, which is, in this case, just the tile and the floor cleaning part of the job. And find out who the project manager's name is or the superintendent. Those are usually the ones that control this. So the prospect's going to be all construction companies, and this is something you'll have to decide for yourself based on what size projects you want to do. If you want the bigger projects, obviously you would focus on companies with 20 or 50 or 100 employees. But in this example, we just said we want to do small and medium-sized floor jobs. That's our goal. And then the geography. How big of an area do you want to cover? And from there, we just progress through, who's the contact person? It's going to be the project manager, the superintendent. What services are we going to offer to them? Tile and grout cleaning is an obvious one. Grout sealing, grout coloring. Sometimes they install grout, and then the client doesn't like the color schemes, so they want to color seal it. VCT floor waxing is going to be a big one for construction companies. So the next question is, what is the value proposition? What message do we want to create that would appeal to them? Well, some of the obvious ones, we want to put ourselves in their position. What would be important to them? Obviously, they want flexible scheduling. They definitely want quick job turnarounds. So if you can't do that, I don't know if I would focus on this market, because this is something where people often do call you and you have to turn that job around quickly. Safety, and I would say that one of the big ones is that you specialize in tile cleaning, and that you're an expert and you know tile cleaning, because I think that'll be a big way for you to separate yourself and to say, hey, this is all we do is focus on the floor part of it. So just doing a quick search, I came up with 247 businesses. And so then some of the questions are, okay, well, where do we find these? And you can buy a list. You can search Google, which I'm going to show you right now. Is I did a quick search in Miami, Florida for construction companies. And one of the first ones that I clicked on was this Thornton company. And when you click on their website, what you notice is up here is subcontractors. So they have a form already set up. So this would be a simple thing that you could do, off hours. And then from there, next is, so that's one thing you can do. Search Google for construction projects, see if any of them have a vendor list, a bid list, and you can just sign up right online. That's something that you can do super quick. Another one is the local business journals. They usually talk about upcoming and current construction projects. Your newspapers, the same thing. LinkedIn, you can go to LinkedIn and do a search for project managers and superintendents or construction companies and see who comes up and start to reach out to them. So what are the best ways to reach out to a construction company? In my opinion, I think door-to-door would be best, because it'd be super quick. That way you're standing in front of somebody, usually the receptionist, and you're going to ask and you're going to inquire, how this is the service we provide, how can I be added to your bid list? And that's a very simple, subtle sale. And they're going to say either we don't accept open invitations like this, or here's a form to fill out, we'll get back with you. So this is one of the best parts about this is it doesn't require a lot of selling, really. The next thing you could do is the LinkedIn connections, doing a search for project managers. They're probably going to be active on LinkedIn. And then follow up with email and mail a couple times a year. And the phone, I think the phone would be more, I have used the phone for this, and it is effective. I just think door-to-door is better, though. The phone can work. I think I would use it more for follow-up, though. So the next question, the next section is frequency and schedule. Okay, we've decided there's 247 construction companies in our area, so we have to continually stay in front of people. So with some quick math, there's that many businesses times 4 times a year divided by 52 comes out to be, I can reach 19 of them a week. Now, obviously, not everybody, this is just a sample. Maybe you only want to do 10 a week or 5 a week, as long as you're doing something, and then setting up the rotation to where you're going to visit them 3 or 4 times, at least until you get an answer. LinkedIn could be another frequency you can set up of reaching out to 5 to 10 project managers a week, a month, a quarter, on some kind of a rotation. And then the email follow-up or phone call rotation to stay in front of them. We have to stay in front of people. The more touches we can get on a prospect, your closing rates are going to go up, 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 and up. So the final part is, and I can't really answer this because it would depend what you're doing, but to map out, okay, well, what's this going to really cost me? Be honest with yourself. How much do I want to invest into this kind of a project every month? How much time do I want to invest? Maybe you only want to invest $100, $100 a month and 5 hours a week. That's fine. You would just set up your rotation based on 5 hours a week. You still want to hit them 3 or 4 times a year, but you would narrow it down to a smaller group of people. And then, well, what's my return on investment goal? What's your standard? Do you want a 1 out of 5, a 1 out of 10, a 1 out of 20? This type of strategy should yield a really big return on investment. And the reason is because you're getting that construction job, and then even if you did 10 of them a year, and then 3 of them, the end user became clients, well, that would be a big payoff when you think about that. Once you start adding up those dollars, that's going to be a really large return on investment. So then the standard is going to be, okay, how many construction jobs did I gain? And then how many referral clients do I gain? And that's how we decide, if this is a successful strategy or not, or how successful. But I can tell you for 100% fact that this is a great strategy. It's a nice little niche way to reach out to people. And to wrap this up, this is the name of our company, Method Clean Biz. This is how to reach me. This is our website. You can reach out to me personally. And if you want to learn more about account-based marketing, feel free to schedule a demo or contact me one of these ways. This is a quick video on how to use LinkedIn for account-based marketing. Now, often when I talk to contractors and I show them something like this, they feel like, this is so abstract. What does this really mean? This is a bunch of theory and nonsense. So what I want to do is take something, an idea, a concept, and show you how to do it in real life. And I'm going to use LinkedIn as the example. So in this principle, it's influencing multiple decision makers. In most businesses, especially once you get to the larger ones, more than one person is involved. And even with the smaller ones, usually there's a boss and he has some kind of an assistant or an office manager, or she has an assistant or an office manager. So there's always more than one person involved in these decisions. And we want to influence all of them and not just that, not just the boss. So to show you how to use this in real life, this is LinkedIn, and it's a tool called the Sales Navigator. And one of the tools that you can use is look up accounts, which is account-based marketing. And I just did a quick search in Pittsburgh for property management, and there's 150 results. So there's all these companies that you can check out, and the great part about this is I can view all the employees associated with this specific company. So if I click on this, this takes me to where I can look at all the employees. And if you think about this now and you see these different employees, I might reach out to them in completely different ways. I mean, this person is an owner, this person's a director of marketing, down here is a leasing consultant. So each of these people I would approach in a completely different way. For instance, like the leasing consultant, that could be a great referral source, because whoever they are leasing the building for might want to prep the building, and also whoever is moving in may want to strip the floors, clean the carpet. Maybe they got furniture they're moving in that they want to freshen up. So there's all kinds of different ways to approach this, and that's why we wanted to use landing pages. This is what account-based marketing is all about, is feeding the right information to the right person. Each of these people are leads and have value, but we want to approach them completely differently. And it depends what type of service that you're offering. So just to show you a couple of our landing pages, just to give you an example, let's say you were in commercial cleaning or janitorial. Well, maybe you would want to use a landing page related around employees, because that's always, one of the big hot buttons in the cleaning industry, the daily cleaning industry, is employee issues, and it drives clients crazy. So, maybe you can talk about that. Now, what if you're a project cleaner and you are focused on carpet and tile cleaning, furniture? Maybe you would approach it completely differently. And this is like a blog concept that you're saying, how come our carpet looks dirty so fast? And this is we're gonna go through this and explain to them why it happens, and kind of what the technical reasons are. It's kind of like an article format, if you will. So this was just a quick little video I put together to introduce you to one of the principles of account-based marketing and how to use it on LinkedIn and how to tie it into our platform. This is a quick blog on putting together a commercial cleaning brochure. Now, this can apply to commercial cleaning, janitorial, commercial carpet, and tile cleaning. It's all the same concept. And what we are focused on for this brochure is tapping into a prospect's emotions, tapping into their fears. And the headline is "Watch out for that next step." And what we're trying to imply is watch out for that next step before you hire a contractor, before you hire another cleaner. And then we're showing that background picture of what can happen if you were to step on a banana and slip and fall down. So we're tying in the image with the headline, and that is a critical part of putting together a brochure, because people can process images really fast. So this is the whole brochure as a whole, and we start off with the headline, watch out for that next step, with the picture, then the subheadline, looking to hire a commercial cleaner, some text, and then our solutions to those problems. The starting point before even creating a brochure is to first fill out a customer profile. The customer profile, this is another blog that I have on creating a customer profile, and I use property managers as an example, but you can apply this to any industry or any prospect. And when creating a customer profile, what we want to do is think about what are the things that they want from us, and then in the case of this brochure, what are some of their fears, what are some of their pain points, and some of them real quick is contractors that are late, we don't answer phone calls, our texts are sloppy, unpredictable, pricing, inconsistent work. So these are some of their fears, and that's why we are using this customer profile first to think ahead on what are the problems, what are their fears. If I was them, thinking of things through their world, and then once we fill out a profile like this, we can then apply it to the brochure. And we try to do that through the images, through the headline, through the text, and then to provide to provide an actual solution to these problems. You can't just say, well, here's the problem. We have to actually provide a solution then of why we are better. So the next part is, the first part is the headline. The next part is the subheadline and the copy. Looking to hire a commercial cleaner, could be commercial carpet cleaner, cleaning service that you could put in whatever service you wanted to focus on, and then explain. Well, in the cleaning business, in general, this applies to almost all the different services, is we are not always predictable, at least in their eyes. We think we are. They don't always feel the same way. If you go and interview a lot of customers, these are some of the things that they talk about, is that we are unpredictable, and this unpredictability can create uncertainty in their building and put their job and their business in a vulnerable position. So that is the subheadline then, and then some copy. From there, we go to the bottom, which is, well, we identified a problem, we identified some of their fears, so what are we going to do about it? Well, we're different because we are going to give you a dedicated project manager. We are going, or you could say, if you're the owner, that the owner inspects every job, or there's all kinds of different ways that you could approach this. It's more of the point of, we are going to be focused on your needs and tapping into, just give me 1 second, tapping into their fears, because these are their fears. So that's what we're trying to solve. Uh, some of them might be a locked-in pricing schedule for the term. If you give them an estimate, you can give them terms of, I can guarantee pricing for 2 years or 3 years or 1 year, depending on what service it is. Janitorial often can go in 2 and 3 and even 5 year terms for the big ones. So that locked-in pricing, that's something that a lot of the larger property managers like, because they can budget long term. Another problem is that we don't always keep to our appointments, or we say we're going to be there at 5 o'clock, then we show up at 6 or 7, and the techs make up excuses why the weather was bad, and that drives customers crazy, because they're probably going to meet you to show you around a building, and they want to go home. So that is one of the reasons to put this dedicated project manager, locked in pricing, on time, specific appointments. Now you can come up with your own. These are just some ideas to think about based on creating the customer profile. So this is just another snapshot of the brochure as a whole. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. This is a quick little video on how to sell commercial cleaning services to churches and religious buildings in general. Janitorial services and specialty services like commercial carpet and tile cleaning, VCT, stripping and waxing. These are all very popular services to offer to churches. So they kind of blend in with the daily janitorial and specialty services. And what we're going to go over is, well, how should I sell to these churches? And the first step is to come up with a simple marketing plan. And that's all you're really doing is asking yourself questions to lay this all out. So the starting point would be, description, all churches, synagogues, any religious organization, and then say within a geographic area. Whether that's a county, a city, the radius from your shop or home, that's all up to you. But that's where we start, is just defining, well, what is my goal here? And when we go out and start to contact people, we then want to set our objective. The primary, secondary, and what we do is we start off with the decision maker. We want to find out who that decision maker is, qualify their level of interest, and then, of course, schedule an estimate. That's what we're really trying to do, is we want to give them a bid on these services. But we first have to start off with finding out who that person is and see what their interest level is. Sometimes with churches is they have volunteers to do it, or it's somebody highly involved in the church. So I wouldn't be following up with them too much in those cases. Maybe check in once a year because people retire or quit or whatever. Then the next section is employee size. What size of a church? And sometimes in the South they have mega churches where they can be really large buildings. And there's also, here up north, we have a lot of smaller Catholic churches. So some of them might only be 5 and 10,000 square feet. So this is something you'll have to decide, how big of a church do I want to target? The geography we covered, and the industry, the contact person. Some of the titles that can be popular is the pastor, the business manager. There's all kinds of religious titles specific to that religion. Business manager, facility manager, maintenance and maintenance manager, or just a maintenance person. Usually they sometimes will be the ones who take the bids. So these are the types of people that you're going to be on the lookout for. What types of services do you want to sell? You may want to rotate them. Let's say carpet, tile, and janitorial. Or maybe you don't do janitorial, so you're going to rotate, carpet, tile, and windows. This is more towards specialty services like carpet, tile, VCT. Windows is coming up with a package. 2 times a year, 4 times a year, monthly, or however you want to arrange that, because it's just easier to sell. That automatically, when you give an estimate, you're going to automatically go with, well, this is 2 times, this is 4 times, and this is the monthly cost. So that's just a simple way for people to make a decision. What are you going to highlight that they might find valuable? Testimonials will be good from either if it's a referral from a church member or other churches that you deal with, or maybe you're a member of. That kind of stuff can be valuable, especially when dealing with churches. A lot of referrals are good. Creatives. This is important because it's really difficult to create anything out on the fly. So that's why we want to pre-do this and say, okay, well, what are we going to do? What are we going to need? And go ahead and get your brochure set up, your letter, email, web page, however you're going to get in front of these people. Let's get it all done. So then we can just sell all the time and we don't have to deal with this stuff. Because this holds us up once we start messing around with, well, I need a brochure, then I need this and that. So let's get this all done, and then we can focus on distribution all the time. The second part of this is going to be, well, how should I reach them? That's what people really want to know. Okay, we're all organized. We know what we're going to do, where we're going to go, what we're going to sell. So how do I get to them? One thing, it's going to depend how many there are in your area. It can range from 20 up to 1,000, depending how large your market is, and it could even be multiple thousands. So I would start with a page on your website, because that's just a central place to store information, but only if there's enough of them. I mean, if there's only 20 of them in your market, I don't know if that's going to be worth it, but that's one option, is create a dedicated page to churches and the topics that they like, which that can play to SEO. I don't know how much search traffic you would get, probably not a lot, so I wouldn't put too much into that one. YouTube videos, again, I don't know how many people are going to search this. I still think it's a good idea if you did, 4 or 5 of them throughout the year. There's a lot of members out there that may see it and then say, or also another thing, not only from a referral, but if when you say email somebody, you can refer them to a video of maybe another church you cleaned. I mean, there's a lot of ways to approach this, and it's not just people finding you. It's also it's stuff that you can send people, maybe with your proposal. When you send over your bid, your estimate, you can include videos of churches you've cleaned. So there's a lot of different ways to do this. I think 4 or 5 would be fine. LinkedIn, looking for some of these titles of people who work at churches. For instance, pastors and business managers, office managers, facility managers, any of those titles in churches or religious buildings. Facebook, I think Facebook, I wouldn't do a huge ad, but maybe something small might work. You can test out. I've never done it, so I can't say. But, $50 a month or something, maybe you could test something out, trying to generate. There's not going to be a lot of decision makers, but I would think of this more of a referrals. A lot of people go to church in this country, in the U.S., so that would be more of my approach, is maybe you can create an ad trying to encourage people to refer you to their church, kind of in that context, and not necessarily a direct sale type of an ad, but maybe a referral. And that's an idea. Never did it before. I think the big ones will be cold calling with the phone and door to door. A lot of this will depend on your specific market, though, because I know a lot of churches nowadays are big on security, and they have the call box and their doors are locked, but that's not everywhere in the country. Some have open door policies, and you can walk right in 20, not or business hours, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So if in those cases, it would be great just to walk in and introduce yourself. But when you can't, then you can resort to the phone. And from there, then we can start to use some of these follow-up tactics like direct mail and email. Direct mail, I think, can be really good target, because there's not a lot of them in the big scheme of things. I mean, if there's only 50 or 200 churches in your market, to direct mail, then do a couple follow-up phone calls or stop by, I think that would be a great campaign to stay in front of them, and it wouldn't be that expensive. So the payoff is there. And these other ones I wouldn't do. It's just too nichey. These nichey type of targets don't really look. Not too many people are going to be looking for, janitorial for churches. Although if you had a web page, you would come up then. But these are more broader ones. And this was a quick little video on churches and how to sell to churches and some marketing tactics that you can do. If you have any more questions, you can check out our website at methodcleanbiz.com. Today, I just wanted to introduce you to a potential referral source, that a commercial referral source that you may not have thought about before. And this is for commercial cleaning companies, janitorial, commercial carpet, and tile cleaning. It wouldn't really matter. You could still apply this little niche strategy. And what it is creating a referral source from office furniture installers. And I just Googled office furniture, Atlanta, Georgia, just to show you how easy this is, just to Google it. And you can find out who these companies are. I'm sure you can buy lists. Um, Hopefully you'll contact me for that. And with these office furniture installers, what you are going to try to do is primarily two things. Either clean chairs for them. What I found, the biggest thing is partitions. This to me would be the main value proposition, is uh, being a resource for them to clean partitions for them. For some reason, this is something that I've noticed consistently over the years. When companies do these big construction projects or big remodeling projects of their offices, they almost always buy new chairs, new desks, but for some reason, they always want to go cheap on the partitions. And that's where we come in, because now we're in a completely different position. That to replace this partition is going to cost a lot of money. So even if we come in and charge 10, 20, $30 to clean it, that's still going to be a whole lot less money than for them to replace it or replace the fabric. So it's really a great position for us to be in from a bidding standpoint, because we're always going to be the hero. We're always going to cost them a lot less money than replacement. So that's kind of the measurement you can use. Now, there's a second part of this that's even better, which is one of the reasons that this is such a great strategy, is we would initially approach these installers and the sellers of the furniture, and then sometimes they will include us in their bid because they have these big projects, sometimes tens of thousands, millions of dollars maybe, replacing furniture, and our cleaning is just going to be a little part of it, so they'll just pay us directly. But that's just for this initial project. The real beauty of this strategy is now we are in there, we're cleaning these partitions or cleaning chairs for this client, and now we have access to the client. We get to meet the office manager. We're gonna meet the boss. We're gonna meet the facility manager. And generally, they're gonna walk around and they're gonna want to check on the progress of the project. And we get to meet them, and now we can introduce the end user, the client, to our services, which now you can see there's carpet that might need to be cleaned. If you have an office cleaning service, uh, you can introduce them to your office cleaning service. Um, Maybe they have floors, and these are all things that the office installation company, they don't do that kind of stuff, but we're already there cleaning. So now this is a great way for us to get additional work, and there's very little competition. I doubt any of your competitors have ever thought about or run a campaign like this. And those are the ones that we want to do, are the ones that nobody's doing. This is a quick little video on how to get cleaning contracts with daycares. Daycares can be a great little target, usually small to medium sized contracts for commercial cleaning, commercial carpet and tile cleaning, and a variety of different project services. The main benefits are that there is a lot of them in most metro areas. There's going to be hundreds of them, if not thousands of them. So there's a decent amount of volume for you to specialize in, and also they are very dirty. They come under state and city inspections, so they do have to do a certain level of cleanliness depending how strict your area is. So that's why these can be a great target depending on what services you provide. So the two steps we're going to talk about is what services can we provide, and then how do we reach out to them? How do we get estimates? How do we get bids with these daycares? And for the services, the main ones are going to be VCT, floor care, and with VCT, I think you'll find a lot of them have VCT, especially the smaller and mid-sized ones that are in metro areas or rural areas. Once you get into the suburbs, often you'll start to see more of the hard tile. But VCT is very popular in daycares. So that's one service, and selling a maintenance program of some kind with high-speed polishing, steam cleaning, restroom floors and walls. There's a lot of different floor care activities that you can sell. Carpet cleaning is also going to be a big one for wall-to-wall carpeting, and also for area rugs. Daycares often have a lot of these little area rugs. They might even have dozens of them in some of the buildings that we've been in. So carpet cleaning can be a great one, and upholstery, any kind of furniture. Daily janitorial services, which would be restroom cleaning, trash, vacuuming, that kind of stuff. And mostly, if you're going to do that, you might as well provide the specialty services also. And one service you may not be aware of is disinfecting service. That's where companies use an electrostatic sprayer, and you're not really cleaning. It's more of a straight disinfecting. You're just trying to kill viruses, kill bacteria, especially in the winter where the flu is heavy. This can be a nice little service with very high margins. I know there's a bunch of them out there. You can Google it. I know Clorox has one, and one of the benefits of using their system, it's a little expensive, but you get to use their name, and their name is popular. So anytime you can leverage somebody's brand, that can, this is a service you can think about if you're going to go this route. So the next question is, what is going to be our marketing plan? What is going to be our strategy? How are we going to reach out to these people? And before I even go into this, what I want to do is just show you real quick a picture of what the downside is to daycares. This is what your typical suburban daycare looks like, and it's going to have a fob door, that a magnetic door that you can't just open. And often security is pretty tight in daycares. They don't just let anybody just walk in. So cold calling door to door can be a real problem because you run into this. This is the cold calling door to door salesperson's worst enemy, is this call box where you're supposed to hit this little button and try to talk to somebody without even seeing them in person. This is why going door to door for daycares can be a big problem. And that's why I am more leaning towards for daycare for these strategies. Now, if you've listened to any of my videos before, I'm not saying you can't find other ways. What I try to do in my videos and with account-based marketing is narrow it down to our best play for that situation, so we get the best return on investment. That's why we're doing this. That's why we're asking these questions, to try to match up the right tactic with the right prospect. So with daycares, we just covered that. So how should you do it? And the first one would be a preset phone appointment. And this is where you call, introduce yourself, let them know the services that you provide, and then you can reach out to them um, by phone, so you can go and meet them for an estimate. So that's the phone appointments. The next strategy would be direct mail, or during the phone appointment, if you get the email, obviously you'd want to set up an email um, an email drip campaign of some kind to stay in front of them. So the next one would be direct mail. Most daycares are small businesses just like us, so they will read the mail on a regular basis. So that's why direct mail can be very effective for these size businesses, and it's probably pretty easy to find out who the owner is if you didn't call them first. Generally speaking, I prefer direct mail after you speak with somebody. But if it's a cold mail, you should easily be able to find who the owner or director is. This is something that they would publicize on their website. Something you might not think about with daycares is Facebook, because most of them are small businesses like us, and they are probably very heavy on Facebook themselves, trying to sell their services. So that's why this can be a good company that you can go and guerrilla market with. Maybe like their page, and then after you like their page, then you can go and message them one on one, because the person answering it will probably be an owner or the director anyways. So that's why Facebook can be a good way to reach out to these people. Something like LinkedIn, I don't think you're going to find that LinkedIn is going to be as good for a daycare. The demographic just doesn't match out. Now, you never know, so there's no reason to try it, but I think overall you'd be better with Facebook. This is something I bet a lot of daycares, or I know a lot of daycares advertise on Facebook because I've seen their ads myself. So the next one would be YouTube, SEO, search types of things, because again, this demographic, small business owners, and a lot of them are newer to the industry. So what are they going to do when they run into cleaning related questions? Or they're going to say they're going to go to YouTube, they're going to go to Google, and they're going to do a search for, how do I deal with a flu outbreak at my daycare? How do I, shine my floors at my daycare? How do I steam clean? All this kind of daycare related questions. This is a demographic that is most likely, because again, they're just like us, and they're entrepreneurs, they're small businesses, and this is what we do. We go where a lot of us do, is we go to YouTube and Google to search out varieties of questions. So that's why YouTube and SEO related, maybe even AdWords, if you can find the right search terms, might also be a nice niche little type of campaign you can run. So this was just a quick video on daycares and how to sell cleaning contracts to daycares. First, we just want to map out what services you want to decide on providing, and then next figure out, well, what's the best way to reach them. And here are 4 good ways to reach them. At the end of the day, I would do all 4. But you got to start somewhere, so I'd start with the phone appointments, because that way you can speak with somebody. This is a quick video on how ad headlines have a huge impact on the results of digital advertising campaigns for commercial cleaning services, janitorial services, commercial carpet and tile cleaning. That's who this is geared towards, the commercial cleaning market. And what this video and blog is about is the top 100 ad headlines for cleaning services, and the impact they can have. And just to start, this is why we use this wheel here, the Wheel of Fortune wheel, because this is how you feel about headlines, and this is what can happen when you run, especially with digital advertising, because we only have a couple of seconds to draw someone's attention. So the difference between a campaign bringing in $400, $800, $7,000, $200, all of these different things can be impacted by the headline, because that's what draws people in. And when you only have 5 seconds, or maybe even 2 seconds on some digital platforms, that can make a big difference on the return on investment, and the result. So our viewpoint is that, and I've done a lot of digital marketing and advertising myself, from SEO to Facebook, AdWords, anything you can think of, videos. And my viewpoint is to rotate topics, because that's how we bring in the most people, is to rotate topics. One week it can be safety, another it could be employee topics, another time it can be your service mix, customer pain points that you're aware of, uh, about the owner, about your employees, that kind of stuff. These are all good topics to run in headlines to create off of these topics. And the reason is that the decision makers, they all have different priorities, and they all are motivated by different things. There's not just one topic that every single facility manager, office manager, owner is going to be motivated by. Some of them will obviously be about pricing, and we don't like that, of course, but some will. That's the big deal to them. But others, especially when you go through walkthroughs, this is where you learn about a lot of this stuff. Is they ask about training, supervision, where are you finding people? These are big questions. So that's why employee is a big issue to put in your headline. Something related to your training, or maybe you could flip it the other way, in the bad experience that they might be unhappy with their current vendor. Customer service. This is also a big one. I would put this in the top three, because this is something, again, that you hear during the walkthroughs is, well, I call this company, they never call me back. So that, and they never get back to me, their service is terrible, blah blah blah. So that's why customer service is a big one. You hear this in the walkthroughs all the time when you're doing estimates and bids. So the question is, where should we start with these headlines? And a great place to start is simply by either answering a question a consumer might have in their head, or asking a question. And it's the simple place to start is where, how, what, and why. And that's all we're doing. We generally, in the digital advertising, only have around 7 words to use, depending on the platform. So we don't have a lot. That's why we want to start. We want to get to the point fast and furious. But these are 4 categories to get things going, to start the conversation. In the full blog, I'm going to go to our website, methodcleanbiz.com. We have the ultimate list of 100 headlines in total that you can cover. And here is an example of, this is our website, and here are 100 different examples. Are you looking for a carpet cleaner for your office? You're asking a question. And this can be changed to office cleaner, tile cleaner, it could be changed. So some of these specifics, like, does your workplace carpet need a deep cleaning? And here we just list 100 different things. And I'm not saying that you're going to make millions. What I am saying is, this is a good place to start, because we're showing you examples of questions you can ask, and then maybe you can tweak some of this. Does your staff need to work in a clean office? That's a question. You know, the secret is out. We all love our secrets. And with these 100 different ones, you can just kind of scroll through. What we try to do is to plug in a powerful word, an emotional word here and there, announcing, introducing. These are good words to put in there. Are you discouraged? Discouraged in general. If you're making a statement, that's another way you could do is testimonials. This is another thing that is very powerful. This is a quick little video on how commercial cleaning and janitorial services can use YouTube videos for marketing and sales. And what we want to go over is, what is my objective? What is my goal here? This is one of the reasons why marketing can be so confusing to a cleaning company, especially to someone that is newer to marketing. Is we see this all the time in social media. Somebody will come along and ask, well, does YouTube marketing work? And then they'll get all these responses that, no, I tried it, it didn't work, I didn't even get one job. And that, you get a lot of those type of answers. And the problem with that is it's just too vague, that if you just post a video or publish a video on YouTube and just hope for the best, you're probably not going to like the results. And that's why, I created this video, and I'm going to use myself as an example to hopefully show how to think about this and how to map this out. So when you decide that, okay, I want to do some video marketing, and you want to decide on a budget, how much money do I want to spend on this, and how much time do I want to put into this? Then from there, we can ask, okay, what's my objective? So here are some questions to ask yourself. Do you want to go viral? Well, some of this is going to depend on, how big of a group of people are you trying to get in front of? National residential type of services, you can go viral. We see it all the time, that I see cleaners with millions and millions of views. Now, if you're a commercial cleaning and janitorial, locally, you probably only have 5,000 to 10,000 prospects, so that would be a no. And in my case, I'm going to use myself as an example in this. So no, I'm not going to go viral. That is not my objective. So I'm going to go to my YouTube page, and that is Shane Dubell, and our company's methodcleanbiz.com. And if you go through here and look through some of this, most of mine don't have huge number of views. I've got 5,000, 4,000. I've got one that went mini viral. That's almost 100,000. 7. I've got a bunch of 2s and 1s. But what I am going to go over with you is, my objective is not to go viral. So I don't even look at that kind of stuff, really. I mean, I do. I keep track of it just to see if something catches. Of course, that's great when something does go viral and you get 100,000 views. But there's really not that many people interested in this subject. So the chances of me getting, hundreds of thousands or millions of views, where there's not even that many people in the industry, let alone number of people that would be interested in one of these topics. So how I use them is, I go and I use them on my website. This is a big reason why I do it. Every time I publish a video on YouTube, well, the real reason is I want to use it later. So maybe I just have the time and the energy at that point to publish that video, because I want to use it later for another reason. So to give you a quick example, on my website, methodcleanbiz.com, every page you go on, I have videos. Here's the home page. There's a video. Here is our page on commercial cleaning leads. Again, there's a video. If you use our janitorial bid calculator or our commercial carpet cleaning calculator, again, I have a video explaining how to use them. Almost all my blogs have videos. So I think I have a couple hundred blogs or something. Almost all of them have videos of some kind, at least one. So that this is my whole objective when I start one. So that's why I don't really make too big of a deal when I look at these views, because only a tiny percentage of people who go on these pages actually watch the video, maybe 10%. So for someone like me, if I get 7,000 views, that means there's probably 70,000 people who actually viewed the blog, the website page. So that's why it's important to first start with, what is my objective? And each of us will have different objectives, because once we decide on an objective, then we can track it and decide if it's worth it or not. So another reason, so I'm just going to go through these questions real quick. For press releases, for a PR campaign, yes. Whenever I publish a press release, I'll include a video. Most of them will allow you to embed a video. YouTube search on the topics, generally no. Will I take it? Yes. It's a secondary reason, though. It's not a primary. Do I like it when it happens? Of course I do. But I don't really optimize for that reason. I optimize more for Google search and tied to my blog. That's why I'm doing it. In Google search, a lot of times if you have a video embedded on your web page, they will use that as the preview. They'll use the YouTube video as the preview, and that brings in a lot more people, and people stay a lot longer on that page because there's different opportunities. Some people like to read, some people like the video, so I'm giving people options. That's my objective is yes. Company website, yes. Social media, yes, some. I generally, though, share blogs with the video on them. Once in a while, maybe once a month or two, I'll share just the video, and that's it. But generally speaking, I share the blog with the video on it. YouTube advertising is another option that very, very few commercial cleaning and janitorial services use. It's more of something that like marketers use. But no, I don't. Either way, I don't use YouTube advertising. But as you build an inventory of videos, you may get into it and decide that, hey, I want to try this out, because I'm telling you, there's not too many people doing it. So this might be an opportunity for you to explore long term. So these are all the marketing and PR reasons. And then over here, we're going to go over the sales reasons. And again, proposals. When you issue a proposal to somebody, you can embed one of those videos. And yes, I definitely do that. PDFs. When somebody requests information, a digital brochure, you could call it. You can also embed one of those YouTube videos to help explain the topic. Email, yes, some. It's kind of like social media. I generally will share the blog with the video on it, but once in a while I'll just send the video. For some subjects, it's just video is just a better way to explain it, and text-based is not that great. Follow up to a specific question. Yes, this can be very helpful for commercial cleaning or a janitorial service. When you're out there in the field or somebody calls you and they say, well, I don't understand this, or what do you mean you're going to steam clean my grout, or you're going to seal the floor, or common questions people have, you can then email them the video and show them exactly. Or questions when you're going through an estimate or a walkthrough and people ask questions, you can send them your video that better explains it. Now everyone's different. Some people, this is kind of my big thing, is the way people absorb information nowadays is some people are heavy text-based, some like pictures and graphs, and others videos. I want to use all of them to some degree and then just go with the prospect. If the prospect prefers video, that's what I'll give them. If the prospect prefers a block of text because they like reading, that's fine. I'll give them a block of text. Or generally speaking, I just give both. So this is our quick little video on YouTube marketing for commercial cleaning and janitorial services. And the starting point is, well, what is my objective? Because if you are just going to use them for sales purposes to help you close better, and that's your only goal is to use it as a way to increase your closing rate, well, the way you would score success or failure, you wouldn't look at the number of views you have. You would look and see if your closing rate went up. See, that's why it's important to first decide what your objective is, because then you can track success or failure. Or if you're trying to get on Google search, well, you're not going to get a whole lot of views, probably a couple hundred, maybe even a couple thousand. But that's not the same as viral. Viral, you're talking hundreds of thousands and maybe even millions, depending on the topic. So that's why we want to do this. And my name is Shane Dubell. Our company is methodcleanbiz.com. Visit our website. We have tons of free resources.